Now, if you want a good illustration of how this broadcasting station works, you need $1,000 real badly, and you go down to the bank somewhere, and you've got to have that 1,000 by the day after tomorrow. They're going to take the car back, or the furniture, or something else. You just have to have that $1,000. Why, the banker can tell the moment you walk inside the door that you just have to have it, and he doesn't want you to have it. Isn't that funny? No, it's not funny. It's tragic. You carry the matches around in your pocket oftentimes to set your own house afire. You broadcast your thoughts, and they precede you. And when you get there, you find that instead of getting the cooperation you went after, the other person reflects back to you what? That state of doubt, that state of mind that you sent out ahead of you. I used to teach salesmanship. I made my living that way for a long time while I was doing the research on this philosophy. And I have taught over 30,000 salesmen, many of them now life members of the coveted $1 Million Roundtable in the life insurance field. And if there is one thing in this world that has to be sold, it's life insurance. Nobody ever buys life insurance. It has to be sold. And the first thing that I taught those people under my direction was that they must make the sale to themselves before they try to make it to the other fellow. And if they don't do that, they're not going to make a sale. Somebody might buy something from them, but they'll never make a sale unless they first make it to themselves. Train your mind to pick up only the things that are related to what you want most in life. And how do you do that? Why, you do that by keeping your mind on what you want most in life, your definite major purpose. So by repetition, by thought, by action, until finally the brain will not pick up anything not related to that definiteness of purpose. Now, is that a marvelous thought? You can educate your brain so that it will absolutely refuse to pick up any vibrations except those related to what you want. And ladies and gentlemen, when you get your brain under control like that, you will be on the path, really and truly on the beam. Now let's see what are some of the benefits of definiteness of purpose. And first of all, definiteness of purpose automatically develops self-reliance, personal initiative, imagination, enthusiasm, self-discipline, and concentration of effort. All of these being prerequisites for success of vital importance. Now, that's quite an array of things that you really developed. You develop through definiteness of purpose. That is to say, knowing what you want, having a plan for getting it, having your mind occupied mostly with the carrying out of that plan. And if you happen to adopt a plan, and unless you're an unusual person, you're almost sure to adopt some plans that are not going to work so well. When you find out that your plan is not right, immediately discard it and get another one. And keep on until you find one that will work. And in the process of doing this, just remember one thing, that maybe somewhere along the line that infinite intelligence, being gifted with a great deal of wisdom, might have a plan for you better than the one you had yourself. Have an open mind. If you adopt a plan to carry out your major purpose or a minor purpose and it doesn't work well, dismiss that plan and ask for guidance from infinite intelligence. You may get that guidance. What can you do to be sure that you will get it? Why, you can believe that you'll get it. You can believe that you'll get it, and it's not going to hurt if you say out loud orally that you believe it. I suspect that the Creator knows your thoughts, but I found that if you express yourself with a lot of enthusiasm, it doesn't hurt any. When I wrote Think and Grow Rich, the original title of it was The 13 Steps to Riches. And both the publisher and I knew that was not a box office title. We had to have $1 million title. Well, they went ahead and set the book up in type, and the publisher kept prodding me every day to give him the title that I wanted, and I wrote 500 or 600 titles. There weren't any of them any good. Not any of them. And then one day he scared the dickens out of me. He called me up and said, well, he said, tomorrow morning I've got to have that title. And he said, if you don't have one, I have one that's a humdinger. I said, what is it? He said, we're going to call it Use Your Noodle and Get the Boodle. I said, my goodness, you'll ruin me. Why, he said, this is a dignified book. And that's a flippant title. Why, that will ruin the book and me too. Well, he said, whether it will or not, that's the title, unless you give me a better one by tomorrow morning. Now, I want you to follow this incident because it's potent with food for thought, what I'm now telling you. I went in that night and sat down on my bed as I was going to, on the side of the bed, and I had a talk with my subconscious mind. And I said, now look here, old sub. You and I have gone a long way together, and you've done a lot of things for me and some things to me, thanks to my ignorance. But I've got to have $1 million title, and I've got to have it tonight. Do you understand that? Well, I really gave the subconscious mind no doubt as to what I wanted. Now, I didn't tell the subconscious mind exactly what kind of a title. I said, it's got to be $1 million title. I went to bed when I had charged my subconscious mind until I reached that psychological moment where I knew it was going to produce what I wanted. If I hadn't have gotten to that point, I'd have been up there still, sitting on the side of that bed, talking to my subconscious. There is a psychological moment, and you can feel it when the power of faith takes over whatever you're trying to do and says, all right, now you can relax. This is it. I went to bed, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up as if somebody had shaken me real hard, and as I came out of my sleep, Think and Grow Rich was in my mind. Oh, boy, I let out an Indian hoop. I jumped to my typewriter and wrote it down, and I grabbed the telephone, and I called the publisher. He said, "What's the matter? Is town on fire now?" It was about 2:30 in the morning by this time. I said, "Yes, you bet it is, with $1 million title." He said, "Let's have her." I said, "Think and Grow Rich." He said, "Boy, you've got it." Yes, I'll say we've got it. That book has grossed outside of the United States over $23 million already, and probably will gross over $100 million before I pass on. And there's no end to it. A multi-million-dollar title. Well, after the thrashing that I gave my subconscious, I'm not surprised that it really came over and did a good job. Now, why didn't I use that method in the first place? Isn't that a funny thing? Well, I know the law. Why did I fool around about it and temporize? Why didn't I go to the source and get my subconscious mind all heated up instead of sitting down there to my typewriter writing out 500 or 600 titles? Why didn't I? Well, I'll tell you why, for the same reason that you will oftentimes know what to do but won't do it. There's no explaining the indifference of mankind toward himself. Even after you know what the law is, you know what the score is, and you fool around until the last limit before you do anything about it. Just like in prayer. Fool around about prayer until the time of need comes, and then you're scared to death, and of course you don't get any results from prayer. If you want to have results from prayer, you condition your mind so that your life is a prayer, day in and day out, every minute of your life. A constant prayer, because it's based upon belief. Belief in your dignity and your right to tune in on infinite intelligence and to have the things that you need in this world. And so it is with this human mind. You've got to condition the mind as you go along from day to day so that when any emergency arises, you'll be right there ready to deal with it. Also, the definiteness of purpose induces one to budget one's time and to plan day-to-day endeavors which lead to the attainment of one's major purpose. If you would sit down and put an hour-by-hour account of the actual work that you put in each day for 1 week, and then an hour-by-hour account of the time that you waste that you could devote to anything you want to if you wanted to, badly enough, you're going to get one of the shocks of your life. We're not efficient. You know, you have about 8 hours to sleep and about 8 hours to earn a living, then have 8 hours of free time that you can do anything that you want to with here in this country where we live. And then definiteness of purpose makes one more alert in recognizing opportunities related to the object of one's major purpose. And it inspires the courage to embrace and act upon those opportunities. And now, we all see opportunities almost every day of our lives, which, if we embraced them and acted upon them, could benefit us. But there's something in us that we call procrastination. We just don't have the will, the alertness, the determination to embrace opportunities when they come along. But if you condition your mind with this philosophy, you'll not only embrace opportunities, but you'll do something better. What could you do better than embrace an opportunity? Make the opportunity. That's the idea. One of Napoleon's generals, the other Napoleon, came to him one day and they were fixing to attack the next morning. This general says, "Sir, the circumstances are not just right for the attack tomorrow." And Napoleon says, "Circumstances not right? Hell, I make circumstances. Attack!" And I have never seen a successful man yet in any business that didn't say, when somebody says it can't be done, he says, "Attack! Attack! Start where you are." And when you get around to that curve in the road, although you can't see by it until you get there, you'll always find that the road goes on around. Attack! Don't procrastinate. Don't stand still. Attack! And definiteness of purpose inspires confidence in one's integrity and character, and it attracts the favorable attention of other people. I think the whole world loves to see a person walking with his chest sticking out, walking with an atmosphere that tells the whole doggone world that he knows what he's doing and he's right on the way doing it. Why, do you know people will get out of the way on the sidewalk and let you go by if you are determined to get by. And you don't have to whistle at them either, or holler at them, or anything of that kind. You just have to send your thoughts ahead with determination that you're going through that crowd. And believe me, they stand aside and let you go through. And the world's like that. The man who knows where he is going and is determined to get there will always find willing helpers to cooperate with him. Now, there's another very important thing. The greatest of all its benefits, that is, definiteness of purpose, it opens the way for the full exercise of that state of mind known as faith, by making the mind positive and freeing the mind from the limitations of fear and doubt and discouragement and indecision and procrastination. The very minute that you decide upon something, you know that's what you want, You know you're going to do it. All of these negatives that have been bothering you, they pick up their baggage and get out. They just move out. They can't live in a positive mind. Can you imagine a negative frame of mind and a positive frame of mind occupying the same space at the same time? Could you imagine that? No, you can't, because it can't be done. And did you know that the slightest bit of a negative mental attitude is sufficient to destroy the power of prayer? Did you know that the slightest bit of a negative mental attitude is sufficient to destroy your plan, whatever it is you're doing, carrying out your definiteness of purpose? You have to move with courage, with faith, with determination in connection with carrying out your definiteness of purpose.